I woke up with a heavy gold chain locked onto my left wrist, and the other end was chained directly to my sworn enemy, my literal childhood frenemy, Yakian. Without thinking twice, I yanked her awake and yelled, "You dummy! What on earth are you doing? How dare you sleep in my bed?" But Yakian wasn't groggy or even slightly surprised. She looked totally wide awake. Her red lips curled into a smirk as she stared right at me. Then, slowly, she raised her own left wrist. "What the hell is this? Tell me right now." Suddenly, Yakian got pretty worked up and defensive. "You want to go run off to your precious Yuan Tiantian again, don't you? Forget it, you'll never see her again." I scratched my head, completely confused, and asked, who even is this Yuan something Tiantian? Why would I search for her? That made Yakian completely freeze, but only for a split second. She immediately started thinking back to all my old tricks. Since she stayed quiet, I looked around. The bedroom we were in was massive and felt totally unfamiliar. Every single piece of furniture looked insanely expensive. Yakian thought I was starting another tantrum and laughed at me. "What is it this time? Going to smash another vase over my head, or what?" I completely ignored her and scanned the room, my mind racing with a million questions. "Where on earth am I?" "This is your place," she said, "but I don't remember your house looking like a palace. Why am I chained to you? Why were we in the same bed? What did you do to me?" She scoffed. "You don't know? Did you buy this secret house to hide from me?" What is she talking about? But then, I noticed something extremely bizarre. Here's the crazy part: a glowing holographic screen floats right in front of my face, talking about how the male lead is faking memory loss again. Another comment says, "Poor boss Shi, how long can this guy even keep up his little act this time?" I bet not even a day, because the second female lead is absolutely seen right through him. This is his third time pulling this stunt, so she won't fall for it. Is that Yuan Tiantian girl online today? Nope. 1-star review. What's so great about the main girl anyway? Why can't he just love our gorgeous CEO wife? Main girl, villainous wife. I understood the words individually, but reading them together sent a freezing chill down my spine. This was completely absurd. Did I somehow transmigrate into a book? No, wait, I'm still the exact same guy. And the woman in front of me is still my childhood rival, Yakian. Then she asks, "You really don't remember Yuan Tiantian? What do you actually remember then?" I ignored her. "We are married, and you're my wife? How is that even physically possible? Xiaochen, if you want a divorce, forget it. I would literally rather die than let you be with Yuan Tiantian over my dead body." But I panicked. I'm not even 20 years old yet. How could I possibly be married? This certificate has to be a complete fake. This is highly illegal. She frowns. "How old are you?" 19. Yaqian's eyes narrowed instantly, and her heart skipped a beat. But a second later, she was completely calm again. "Xiao Chen, I don't have time for your games. Seriously, how many times are you going to fake losing your memory? If you're not tired of this act, I am. Stop running after Yuan Tiantian. She doesn't love you." I snapped back. "I'm not faking. Just yesterday, I ran the 800-meter race at the school sports meet and took first place. I even sprained my ankle showing off to you. But looking around now, I seriously have absolutely no memory of this place." As Yaqian listened, her expression completely shifted, her eyes drilling straight into me. Could Xiao Chen actually be telling the truth? He met Yuan Tiantian right after that sports meet. If he really lost his memory, then it makes total sense why he doesn't know her. "You are not 19. You are 26, and we have been married for 4 years. 4 years. 4 whole years. I do not believe it. I am 19. Why marry you?" "Hold on. Here's the kicker: you used to swear that if every man died, you'd still never like me. But she actually believes me today. But if I find out you're lying to me again, next time it won't just be a gold chain locking you up." I stared at the gold chain and asked Yaqian if it was real gold or just some cheap alloy. She sighed. "It's real 18-karat gold, which is technically an alloy." Well, that ruined my mood. Yaqian's voice softened slightly as she told me to just name whatever I wanted. She offered to buy it for me. I wondered if she had a change of heart, since getting allowance from her used to be impossible. "You always said your money belonged entirely to your future husband. Now you're suddenly generous?" She softly replied, "Well, you are my husband now. How could I have ever married you? Are we both completely out of our minds here? You're not pranking me, right?" Yaqian grabbed our marriage certificate off the nightstand and tossed it over. It was completely genuine, with the official steel seal stamped on it. I stared at the wedding date. We got married at 22, the exact year we both graduated from college. Morning light filtered through the massive floor-to-ceiling windows. Xiaqian sat in the dining room, her cold gaze drifting right over me. Wang Ma politely announced that breakfast was ready. I stared down at the incredible spread on the table, my eyes instantly lighting up. Shi Yaqian watched me in silence. As I stuffed my face, I yelled toward the kitchen that Wang Ma's cooking was absolutely legendary. I mumbled, cramming another bun into my mouth. Shi Yaqian watched, realizing how happy Ah Chen looked. How long had it been since she last saw him looking this genuinely happy? But what if this was all a lie? Instantly, her overflowing warmth froze over like thick ice. What if Ah Chen was just playing nice to lower her guard, only to run back to that cheating woman, Yuan Tiantian? She would give Ah Chen a chance, waiting and observing to judge his actions. That dark suspicion coiled like a venomous snake tightly around Xie Yaqian's heart. Quietly, she set down her warm coffee cup. If Ah Chen was playing her, she thought, that custom-made golden cage in the basement was still empty. She would happily lock him inside it once again. Xie Yaqian, how come I don't remember your family being this filthy rich? This massive villa could not have been cheap. Did you really buy all this? How much money did you make? The old Ah Chen never cared about her finances or anything to do with her. Back then, he only ever thought about Yuan Tiantian. He only cared about pleasing Yuan Tiantian. Taking a slow, deep breath, Xie Yaqian looked at me. It was not that expensive, just over 300 million. Right now, my net worth is at least tens of billions. Hearing that she was worth tens of billions. Honestly, wouldn't your eyeballs pop out of your head too? You are insanely rich, I said, dropping my chopsticks and looking at her. You did say we are legally married, right? If we split the marital assets, half of your net worth is mine. Which means I am a billionaire too. She suddenly ordered me to take off my clothes. Wait, right now? Shouldn't we at least go to the bedroom? Honestly, Xie Yaqian and I are already married, even if I strip down. So what? It is not like I am losing out. I gave her a bright, completely carefree smile. Looking at my ridiculously joyful face, Xie Yaqian could only rub her forehead in disbelief. Could he really have amnesia this time? Before, even when Ah Chen was faking it, he could never hide his disgust for her. No, she still needed to watch him. She reminded him of their prenup. If they divorced, he would leave with absolutely nothing. My jaw dropped. I was completely devastated. Are you serious? You actually put up guardrails against me? Xie Yaqian, I did not expect this. You have deeply disappointed me. She pointed out that I was the one who demanded it. Me? Why? Was I brain dead? Refusing free money just to act proud? Because the old Ah Chen never actually wanted to marry her. He was completely heartbroken by Yuan Tiantian, only marrying her out of spite. It was actually Ah Chen who insisted on signing that prenup. How do we even get married? And who is this Yuan Tiantian anyway? I kept pressing her. As I asked, my eyes drifted back to those floating bullet comments. They screamed that Yuan Tiantian was my real wife. Oh please, his legal wife is Xie Yaqian. Those two are literally a match made in heaven. I will fight anyone supporting the second female lead. A cheating woman does not deserve to end up with the main lead. Once he gets his memory back, we all know he'll return to his true wife's side. Stop trying to break up the official couple, you absolute clowns. From these comments, I realized that we were in a novel. I was the love-brain male lead, Xie Yaqian was the second lead, and Yuan Tiantian was the cheater. But what did she even look like to make me want to end my life for her? Xie Yaqian hesitated a long time before speaking. She revealed that Yuan Tiantian was my first love. I constantly lied to her, drowning our marriage in endless deceit. Why on earth did I sign a prenup? I really was a massive idiot. Seeing me sigh, Xie Yaqian asked if she should call the family doctor, since I woke up with amnesia and was now cursing myself. I insisted I was perfectly fine, but Xie Yaqian analyzed my strange behavior with deep suspicion. Everything Ah Chen had done today was too weird. Had he secretly contacted Yuan Tiantian behind her back? What did she tell him this time? Was his amnesia just a meticulously planned act designed to make her lower her guard? Yet everything felt like it had returned to the past, back before Ah Chen ever fell for Yuan Tiantian. Xie Yaqian's eyes dimmed as suspicion grew wildly in her heart like choking vines. After finishing breakfast, Xie Yaqian got ready to leave for her company. Though I was still eating, I jumped up and followed her. When I asked where she was going, she said work. But wait, where do I work? She looks up at me and says I am not allowed to leave this house. Why? Does she think I am lying? My credibility is apparently pretty low with her. But I seriously do not remember anything from the last 6 years, including this mysterious Yuan person. What else can I even do? Since I forgot everything, she tells me to stay home like a good boy. No going out, and absolutely no running away. She literally has bodyguards posted all over the place. I ask about my phone. Since I agreed to stay inside, she should at least let me have some entertainment. She promises to send a new phone. I just smile and give her an okay sign. Then she tells her guards to watch me closely. Under no circumstances is he allowed to leave or see anyone, especially that Yuan Tiantian. The guard quickly nods. Her assistant reminds her of a massive bidding war tonight. It is a huge clash between the Shi group, the Yuan group, and other companies. Is that so? Every time he pulls a stunt like this, it is to help the Yuan group steal a deal. The Shi family is not their only rival, but if they take down our group, absolutely nobody else can stand in their way. Could he be faking it? The assistant asks. Just to make you lower your guard and sabotage the conference tonight. He ruined everything. Way too many of our major collaborations. Yet Boss Shi still spoils him rotten. Even with massive profit losses and angry shareholders, she completely refuses to divorce the guy. The husband must be totally blind. He has an amazing wife, but keeps throwing himself at some absolute trash of a woman. Honestly, I feel terrible for Boss Shi. If he is indeed faking, she needs to prepare a backup plan right now. Whatever happens, we must win this project. We cannot let his brainless actions throw off our entire game plan tonight. She agrees. Meanwhile, back at the mansion after eating and drinking my fill, I flop onto the bed. Man, this thing is absolutely massive and so comfortable. Everything is pure silk. Back in the day, both our families were pretty well off, but nothing like this luxury. We could afford fancy furniture back then, but definitely not a giant estate like this. I still have no clue how Xie Yaqian got this rich. How does anyone even get this successful? I lie there, watching the chat comments scroll by in real time. Total nonsense. Absolutely zero useful information in there. Since there are no real clues, I close the chat. But as soon as I start playing on my new phone, a text pops up. Hey Chen, today is extremely crucial. You absolutely must help me stall Xie Yaqian. Once the Xie group falls, we will get married. Talk about a manipulative player. The comments are already screaming that he's going to fall for it. He is totally obsessed with her. But wait, he has amnesia now. Who even cares about this garbage female lead anyway? Some viewers think he is faking the memory loss to trick his wife, especially since today's project is so incredibly vital. Stop causing trouble, they beg. But now, the pieces finally click. This text is from that Yuan flat-chest scumbag woman. I just roll over and keep scrolling through my phone. 10 minutes pass without a reply. Yuan Tiantian finally senses that something is seriously off. She tries using sweet talk to manipulate me. I instantly get annoyed and block her number. The girl is utterly shocked. How could he block me? She wonders. Have I been ignoring him too much lately? She immediately spams me with sweet texts, claiming her relationships with other guys are all totally fake, just business partnerships, and that I am her only true love. She claims she is only grinding for our wedding. She even claims this bid is just to give us a better future. So I text back directly, transfer me 5 million to prove it. Yuan Tiantian immediately flips her script, crying that I have changed and never used to be this money-minded. She claims I used to be pure and kind like pristine snow, blaming my attitude on spending too much time with Xie Yaqian. According to her, I am corrupted and need to stay away, while she is out here working hard for our future. Why can't you support me? She asks. I actually frown, falling into self-doubt. I mutter to myself, would I really fall for this? Whether this is transmigration or just memory loss, there is absolutely zero chance I would ever fall for this trash. Honestly, would you? I cannot waste another breath on her. So I block her number completely and go right back to playing my mobile games. Meanwhile, on the way to the tense bidding conference, the family nanny calls Xie Yaqian. The nanny panics. Sir has been throwing up non-stop at home. His stomach is hurting so bad he is literally rolling on the floor in agony. Xie Yaqian demands to know where the doctor is. The nanny says he is coming, but the guards refuse to let an ambulance through without her direct permission. Xie Yaqian snaps, telling those idiots to call emergency services right now, because if anything happens, they are all fired. Terrified of what might happen, the bodyguards quickly call for an ambulance. Xie Yaqian hangs up and orders the driver to turn around, even as her assistant warns that their crucial bidding conference is starting and his stomach ache is too convenient. Xie Yaqian replies that she knows the risks, but Ah Chen will always come first. Even if he plays the boy who cried wolf every single time, she will still choose to believe him. He can lie to her 1,000 times, but she cannot ignore him even once. Xie Yaqian knows she cannot afford to lose Ah Chen, because the sheer pain of it would destroy her. Yuju opens her mouth to argue, but ultimately just nods as the black Rolls-Royce, right as it is about to cross the intersection near the bidding venue, makes a sharp U-turn and speeds back toward the estate. Inside, Xie Yaqian takes a deep breath. She knows this sudden emergency could easily be another setup. The timing is just way too perfect. Someone might be trying to keep her away from the conference. She does not dare to risk his life. Even if he tricks her 100 times, on the 101st time, she will still run to him. The ambulance finally arrives to rush him to the clinic, and her phone suddenly vibrates. It is a message from Wang Ma. Meanwhile, Yuju works frantically on her tablet to postpone the entire bidding event. Shi Yaqian just stares out the window. Talk about absolute nail-biting tension as the car finally slams its brakes at the hospital. The very second the tires screech to a halt, Shi Yaqian sprints inside, finding Wang Ma and the anxious bodyguards waiting by the door. Wang Ma spots her and quickly explains that the doctors are already examining him inside. Shi Yaqian rushes up to the operation room door, but through the glass window, she can only see frantic figures moving around. Clenching her fists, she forces herself to stay calm before turning to glare at the bodyguards standing at attention. Her voice is quiet but absolutely freezing as she demands to know who stopped him from calling for help. A massive bodyguard nervously steps forward, stammering that she previously ordered them to verify any emergency calls or trips he wanted to make. She cuts him off, snapping that they are meant to guarantee his safety, not force him to suffer in agonizing pain. If something had actually happened to her husband, who among them would take the blame for it? The bodyguards freeze in dead silence. Suddenly, the doctor steps out, and she immediately asks how her husband is doing. The doctor explains it is just acute gastroenteritis. He is far too thin, usually barely eats, but suddenly stuffed himself today. The sudden shock was just too heavy for his stomach, triggering violent spasms and vomiting. They have given him meds to calm the pain, and he is now on an IV drip. There is no major danger. Her racing heart finally settles. An overwhelming wave of exhaustion washes over her, but it is quickly replaced by pure relief. Shi Yaqian lets out a heavy sigh, thanking the doctor and asking if she can go see him. The doctor nods but asks for quiet. Nodding silently, Shi Yaqian gently pushes the hospital door open and slips inside. Chen is lying in bed with his eyes closed, his face pale, and an IV needle tapped into the back of his hand. As the clear liquid slowly drips, he hears quiet footsteps, flutters his eyelashes open, and looks up. When he realizes it is her, a complex mix of surprise and unspoken relief flashes across his eyes. He hoarsely asks if she did not have an incredibly important meeting to attend. Shi Yaqian narrows her eyes, asking how he knew about that. You see, she immediately suspects this whole thing was a calculated trap to lure her away. But our CEO came fully prepared. Even without her, her team can handle it. Yet, the moment he calls, this powerful woman drops everything to run to him. Some fans are even joking that she should just lock him up and keep him safe forever. Chen explains that he received a random text telling him to stall her today. He pleads with Shi Yaqian to believe him. He points out that despite his memory loss and their rocky relationship, he would never team up with outsiders to ruin her. He does not even recognize the ex-girlfriend now, and claims he would never try to sabotage her hard-earned career. Shi Yaqian silently wishes things could stay peaceful like this forever as she reaches out for his phone. Normally, he would be terrified, but this time Chen willingly unlocks his screen and hands it over, letting her see the relentless spam messages from his manipulative ex, Yuan Tiantian. Seeing the manipulative sweet talk, her eyes turn dark, but she realizes his story actually matches the messages perfectly. He never agreed to help them, making this hospital visit a total coincidence. He just wanted to eat more to build up his terribly skinny, 26-year-old body, never expecting his stomach to be so fragile. It had been a really long time since Shi Yaqian heard me just ramble on like this. I wanted to share every single little thing with her, every trivial detail. It felt like I had completely wiped Yuan Tiantian from my mind. My eyes could finally see her again. Shi Yaqian stayed close by while my IV dripped. Outside, the night was pitch black. Only the faint, soft footsteps of nurses echoed down the quiet hallway. The medicine dripped at a steady pace, slowly counting down time as I leaned back. I was still pretty pale, but my eyes were wide and sharp. It was like I was desperate to pull my forgotten memories out from the fog. I kept asking questions about those 6 missing years, everything that had slipped away. At first, Shi Yaqian gave really short answers, trying to change the subject. For her, those 6 years were just filled with painful silence. It was watching helplessly as I walked away to chase someone else. It was the bitter jealousy and total helplessness clawing at her heart, nearly swallowing her alive. Those were easily the most painful 6 years of our lives. She did not want to mention a single word, but just as she went completely quiet, her eyes met mine. She saw no lingering pain or regret in my gaze, just pure, clean curiosity, completely free from all the heavy dust of our past. Faced with a pair of eyes like that, she simply could not keep her walls up. Piece by piece, I slowly coaxed those bitter memories out of her. That Yuan girl, how did I even meet her? Shi Yaqian nervously traced the cold metal of the bedrail. The freezing steel bit her hand as she flatly whispered her name, Yuan Tiantian. She was a grad student at our school. When you sprained your ankle, I was the one who rushed you to the clinic. After that, I went with you for every single checkup and dressing change. I never missed one. except for the very last visit. You were pretty much healed and walking fine, and I had some urgent business to handle, so I let you go alone. That was when you met her. One single absence. Game over. She had protected him and stayed by his side the whole time, yet it was no match for a cruel twist of fate that made a Chen fall instantly in love with another woman. Then came the secrets, the sneaking around, the endless distraction. I was buried deep in my project, working day and night. By the time I finally had a moment to breathe and look for you, you ran up and announced you were confessing to her. Watch this. Hearing her say all this felt like a story about a total stranger. Silence fell over the room, with only the low hum of medical machines echoing. My brow slowly furrowed. So how on earth did we end up married? I asked her the one question that had been driving me crazy all day. Later on, you realized Yuan Tiantian was actually just stringing you along. Even worse, she was already engaged. Out of sheer anger and spite, you rushed to me for a flash marriage. You were completely devastated, and I foolishly let my heart soften and agreed. But Yaqian was lying. In reality, she loved him desperately but knew she could never truly have him, and I had been kept entirely in the dark. She only gave him a chance when he was down. Hearing this, I suddenly sat bolt upright in my bed. My voice cracked with shock and pure anger, pulling the IV needle slightly. I was in total disbelief. Then the sheer absurdity of it hit me. I did not even know what face to make. I asked Xia Qian about our past, but honestly, I wanted to see what the live bullet comments would say even more. Of course, the main leads fall in love instantly. Childhood friends never stand a chance against destiny. The second female lead lost fair and square. Besides, the female lead never actually cared about the other guys. Only her love for the male lead is real. Oh, please, she flirts with everyone. He has broken down because of her so many times. As the heir to the massive Yuan group, especially with her dad having so many illegitimate kids, she obviously has to lock down her power first. Marriage is just a chess move, and everyone else is just a pawn. Just a pawn? Then why did she not call off the wedding to be with him instead? When he got dragged online and branded a home wrecker, she literally hid away. You call that love? I listened closely to see Yaqian's telling story. Those 6 chaotic years with Yuan Tiantian were finally forming a crystal clear picture in my head. At the end of the day, it was just a cheap, painful cliché. She wanted absolute power for her family, but she was too greedy to let go of her sweet romance. My ex played me with sweet promises of true love while secretly holding onto a wealthy fiancé for her own gain. Then, when everything blew up, she left me to take all the blame. Honestly, this whole plot feels like it was ripped straight from some trashy romance novel. I seriously cannot believe I was that stupid. Was that brainless idiot really me? No way. How could I let her play me? Fortunately, the IV drip finally ran dry, and I could finally escape this depressing hospital. Outside, my eyes locked right onto that shiny Rolls Royce. My jaw practically dropped. Man, this ride is absolutely gorgeous. My hand gently traced the sleek door. 28 million? I whipped my head around in shock. If I hadn't run into my toxic ex, Yuan Tiantian, back then, could I have built my own empire too? I stopped to think. With my skills, I would be buying mansions, driving sports cars, and maybe even dating a supermodel. Keep a what? None of your business. I just want a supermodel. Besides, I basically lost 6 prime years of my youth. 6 whole years. I haven't even held a girl's hand, and now I wake up legally bound to you. So what if I want a little luxury? I just want some harmless romance. Thankfully, the thick tension between us finally melted away. Looking at Xie Yaqian, I fell right back into our old, comfortable dynamic. Get in the car, we are heading home. I just blurted out whatever popped into my head. I casually walked past her, threw open the back door, and hopped inside like she was my personal chauffeur. She stared at me, annoyed but smiling. Check this out, that familiar warmth flooded her chest, and she couldn't help but smile. She yanked open the back door and tried dragging me out. Since I rarely saw this playful side of Xie Yaqian, I let her pull me along and shove me into the passenger seat. Seriously, am I your chauffeur? Getting to drive this young master around is an honor. You should be thrilled. Once we pulled up to the house, I refused to budge, forcing Xie Yaqian to stubbornly drag me out. The servants at the mansion doors stood frozen. They had never seen the master and mistress act so close before. Usually, it was all cold glares and screaming matches, but today was different. He was teasing her, and she was actually smiling back. It seemed like the ice between this married couple was finally starting to melt. Xie Yaqian linked her arm with mine, pulling me down the hall and straight into the bedroom. She sat me down, her face turning bright red. This sudden sweetness caught me completely off guard, and I blurted out that she had changed. Are you calling me old again? Don't forget, we are the same age, and you are actually older than me. So now you are the one trying to call me old, aren't you? Not at all, Shi Yakin said with a soft smile as she walked to the closet. Go take a shower first. My mind immediately went wild, imagining what would happen next. I defensively asked if we were actually spending the night here. Yes, and I might lock you in so you don't sneak away. Hey, that is literally illegal imprisonment. I am calling security. Go right ahead. We are legally married, so nobody will care anyway. If we tell the guards it is just a silly lover's quarrel, they won't care. Shia Yakin, you are crazy. When I finally stepped out of the bathroom wearing just my pajamas, Shia Yakin looked surprisingly flustered for a second, then quickly dashed inside the bathroom herself. Suddenly, the phone she left on the bed lit up. The message read that they won the big bid, and their rivals were officially out. Once Shi Yakin finished washing up, she stepped out, but the entire bedroom was completely quiet and empty. I was gone. You can feel her panic as she froze, feeling like she had plunged into ice. Trembling, she called out my name, but got nothing. Did Xiao Chen lie to her and vanish again? Panic. Total panic. Xiao Chen, someone get in here right now. Go search the entire house immediately. Just then, the door down the hall clicked open. I stepped out, looking incredibly annoyed by the noise. Stop yelling, I snapped. Are you trying to wake the entire neighborhood? Are you going to let me sleep? Seeing that I was safe, Shi Yaqin finally let out a massive sigh of relief. Staring at her frantic, terrified face, a sudden wave of guilt washed right over me. Xiao Chen, that is what you get for playing cool. Serves you right for spraining your ankle. Back before I transmigrated, when I injured myself, Shi Yaqin would drag me to the clinic while scolding me the entire way. Before she could even finish, I shook my leg, instantly silencing her. Back when Shi Yaqian was 20, she was a total nag, but she always showed up the second I needed help, even for the stupidest little things. Now that she is 26, she acts cold, yet she still cares. But my mind is still stuck in the past, not matching her current age. So, I just blurted it out, you have a crush on me. Zero hesitation in my voice. I sounded too sure. Xie Yaqian froze right in her tracks. Crush on you, my ass, she snaps. Get back to the room with me, you are not sleeping out here. The chat feed explodes again. I scan through all the arguing comments, but there's absolutely nothing useful here. Honestly, I do not even have the energy to care. Xie Yaqian is already standing right in front of me. Her eyes are cold and clear. This is not a debate, it is a demand. Walk back yourself, or I will have someone carry you. She says she has zero interest. Look how skinny you are. And yeah, I really am paper thin. Looking down at my sickly, frail body, I notice a flash of deep sorrow in her eyes. It is as if by hurting me, she is also cutting herself open. Then why do you keep me chained up? This is about my lost memories, is not it? She tells me that before our marriage, I was so obsessed with Yuan Tiantian that I became a shell of a man. Once married, she gave me freedom. But the first time I saw her again, I locked myself away and went on a hunger strike for 3 days, demanding a divorce. She did not agree, but she did not stop me from running to her either. She was dead serious. She even secretly hired bodyguards to keep me safe. Yet the next time she saw me, I was crying on our doorstep because Yuan Tiantian got engaged to her fiancé. I kept getting hurt because of that girl. And get this, Shi Yaqian reminds me she still has a fiancé right now. She is engaged, yet she is still leading me on, using my connections to steal major deals from our family business, draining us to build her own empire. She never planned to marry me or break off her engagement. Still, I kept ruining my own body for her, taking sketchy pills that completely wrecked my health. When her childhood friend needed an organ transplant, I actually volunteered to give him one of my own. Thank goodness she intervened and locked me up at home. Otherwise, I would not just be skin and bones today. I would have been dead years ago. Ever since, she has had guards watching me by day and chains me to her bed at night. Was that really me? I mean, who could possibly be that big of an idiot? I cannot even relate to that guy. Shrugging, I defend myself well. Haven't I forgotten all that now? To stop you from remembering and acting crazy again, you are coming back with me. Resisting is useless. I do not want you anyway. Touched by her loyalty and sticking by me all these years, I finally back down. Fine, I mutter, fine. Honestly, looking at myself, I wouldn't be interested either. Even with her sharp tongue, Shi Yaqian is the only family who never gave up. Now check this out. Shi Yaqian drags me back and expertly locks the chains around us again. Keeping her word, she stays on her side of the mattress. I murmur that the bed is comfortable, but she just snorts. She was exhausted from the long day and ordered me to sleep. Next morning, a soft clinking sound wakes me in the quiet bedroom. Shi Yaqian is up first, trying to move silently, but the cold metal chain still drags me out of sleep. I complain that it is too noisy, muttering that I do not have class, but she tells me to get up and eat. A female voice. She tells me to eat before sleeping, and I freeze. Since when do girls hang out in my dorm? Suddenly, pieces of my memory violently slam back together. I bolt upright in bed as if I just got burned. She mocks me for remembering I do not have class. I stay completely silent, lost in my head. Sitting there, I fall into a deep daze. To me, the events of 6 years ago felt like they happened yesterday, but this grown woman standing before me and the changes in my own body prove that 6 long years have actually gone by. This is not right. Something is terribly wrong. Memory loss makes you forget things, but why remember college so clearly while losing exactly those 6 middle years? A bizarre, almost sci-fi thought starts creeping into my mind. Could I have transmigrated? She calls me down for breakfast, warning me to eat light today. She warns me not to end up in the ER again. I just hum, watching her walk away. The door clicks shut. I flop back onto the bed, pulling the covers over my face to process this absolutely wild theory. A voice whispers, "Sorry, I am late." My body stiffens. Whipping the blanket off, my eyes dart around the empty space. Who is there? A voice replies, "Hello, Xiao Chen. I am not here. I am inside your head." Inside my head? Great, I am officially losing my mind. I couldn't handle the panic anymore. I threw off my blanket, leaped from bed, and sprinted out barefoot. I sprinted downstairs, clutching my head, desperate to block out that creepy voice. Xie Yakin heard my terrified screaming from the dining room. She dropped her utensils immediately and rushed over to the stairs. She barely took a few steps before I slammed right into her, rambling about a weird voice inside my head. "Xie Yakin, is something really wrong with me? Schizophrenia? Hallucinations?" She just stared, asking what I was talking about. "Why can't you hear me?" Her eyes scanned my pale face as I grabbed her arm like a lifeline, trembling and speaking fast. Xie Yakin just lightly knit her brows, staring at me in complete confusion. "Are you deaf?" My panic stopped instantly. "I'm worried about you," she snapped back. "And you call me deaf? I yelled all that and you didn't hear a word? You seem to hear me just fine right now." "You genuinely didn't make a sound just now," she said. "Amnesia? Hallucinations? And now signs of aphasia? We are going to the hospital right now." She wasn't joking. Suddenly, a voice said, "Do not fear, host. You do not have schizophrenia. I am System 0137. This sudden twist completely derailed my panicked thoughts. The flat, robotic system voice confirmed it was real. It apologized, explaining that a headquarters meeting had delayed its scheduled arrival yesterday. Because of that, it was only connecting now, warning me never to mention its existence to anyone. Any related speech gets censored since we talk directly inside your mind. This kept things safe and prevented the outside world from thinking I was crazy, so that was it. Talk about a wild realization, so that's why Xie Yakin couldn't hear my panic screaming. Hearing those system numbers miraculously calmed my tense nerves, sparking a sudden wave of absurd curiosity. I mentally joked about it having emojis, causing the system to pause. Suddenly, an emoticon projected straight into my mind. I nearly screamed out loud in shock. To Xie Yakin, Xiao Chen had lost his memory yesterday, and today he was hallucinating and staring blankly into space. His expressions were bizarre, and his worrying symptoms were quickly piling up. The situation looked pretty grim as she closely watched my rapidly shifting facial expressions. "We need to go to the hospital," I quickly snapped back, assuring her I was fine. "I am just groggy from waking up, and my brain is a bit messy. Let us eat breakfast." Xie Yakin looked highly skeptical, calling our family doctor right after breakfast before heading to work. While the doctor examined me, a middle-aged man suddenly burst inside, crying for help. He begged me to stop his firing, but seeing an elder kneel before me was highly uncomfortable. I hurriedly pulled him up, telling him to take his time and explain what happened. He pleaded that he had elderly parents and 2 sons in college, desperate not to lose his job. "I had just changed my number yesterday, yet Yuan Tiantian found out instantly. There really was a mole here. Yuan Tiantian was tracking our company's public moves while playing hot and cold with Ah Chen to tease him. Seriously, did she honestly think Xie Yakin was just a total pushover? Hearing what this man did made my tiny bit of sympathy completely vanish. Keeping a treacherous sellout around is like burying a live landmine right under our feet. It is way too risky. Sell out Xie Yakin today, and you will sell out anyone tomorrow. Today, it is leaked info. Tomorrow, you might cost someone their life. The Xie family has no place for people like you. I will pay your wages, but if you keep pestering us, I will sue you for violating your contract. This was honestly the happiest day of my life. I hope Achin plays amnesiac a bit longer, because this time, I will never let him escape me again. He should never regain his memories. He must stay by my side forever, completely willing. I lay down in bed, chatting with the system. 137, can we change your name? People might think my takeout has arrived. It agreed, asking what I wanted to call it instead. Also, can you stop being so formal and robotic? It is too cold. Understood, it replied. We can change anything. Want me to sound friendly and lively? The main character agrees as long as it stops sounding like a total robot. Otherwise, he has zero interest in chatting. First, he demands to know exactly what features and functions this weird system even has. It explains it is from the male lead department. Its ultimate mission is to rescue him, meaning it is simply there to help him survive. Save him? From what? Shi Yiqian locking him up, or Yu Wantian ruining him? Hold on, because here is the absolute wildest part. The system drops a massive truth bomb, revealing they are actually living inside a web novel. The system is utterly shocked. How could he know? It just got here and has not said a single thing yet. Did someone spill the secret? Why would he believe them? But wait, that is wrong too. He simply points out that he can see the comments. He wonders if this is some kind of system glitch. Panicking, the system apologizes, admitting it got dragged into an emergency meeting right after arriving. So he learned everything about his life, just from reading comments? Not quite. Most readers are just fighting or playing cards. There is barely any real information. He only knows he is the hopeless romantic male lead, and Shi Yaqian, the second female lead, is the absolute villain of this story. Plus, the main female lead has some incredibly toxic relationship views. The system quickly tells him not to put himself down like that. The main character must stay strong and confident. This whole fantasy world only exists because of him. Is he really the center of this world? If so, why does every single piece of luck, resource, and benefit go straight to the female lead? He is painfully skinny, his bones practically poking through his skin. The system agrees both female leads deserve some serious, heavy punishment for this. This story is incredibly ancient. Years ago, tragic stories filled with family ruin and toxic abuse were super trendy, but that style died out. This world has restarted over and over again. But during the last few loops, this tiny universe started veering completely off its tracks. Especially last time, when Shi Yaqian snapped. She straight up murdered the main female lead and then took her own life right in front of him. Everyone died. Total reboot. He stops the system in pure shock. Wait, he died? Is he not the actual male lead? How did he die? Plus, in this new loop, Shi Yaqian is already acting strange. Who is actually the main character here? It feels like the female lead is the favorite, while he is just some unwanted orphan. Why does he have to suffer? Does he really have to die? Before that happens, he vows to drag that gold-digging Yu Wantian straight to hell. System warning. Panic detected. It begs him to calm down. Its whole purpose is to guide him, ensuring he finally gets his well-deserved happy ending. If correcting the plot means forcing him into a happy ending with Yu Wantian, he would honestly rather go stab her to death right now. Who is that garbage ending supposed to please? Who could ever love a toxic woman like that? If anyone wants her, they can keep her. The system begs him to take a deep breath. The system explains its department has high authority. Since those old tropes are dead, he decides his own ending. He can make Shi Yaqian the main girl or go solo as an unstoppable, overpowered main character with zero romance. Now that sounds like a plan. He wants a perfect, satisfying end to this nightmare. He decides to name the system 21. The system accepts. Their goal is true happiness, and it is excited to finally work together. He reminds it that they still did not discuss its actual powers. How will it help? That comment section is incredibly distracting and loud. Fight. Fight. They just argue all day, driving him crazy. The apologetic system promises to turn it off. He can always turn it back on with his mind. To actually win, he must complete the main quest and boost his overall happiness progress. Each milestone unlocks a new reward, leading up to the grand prize of growing old together. And if he chooses to stay entirely alone and finishes his life without any partner at all, growing old with himself is still a win. But what if his luck is terrible, and his new choice betrays him all over again? He can swap them out anytime, and the new person will inherit the grand prize. The system will always put the male lead first. He is pretty satisfied with that answer, but he still has one major burning question left. Wait, talk about a bizarre plot twist. Our main character was just in college, but suddenly he has been married for 4 whole years. The system panics, begging him to listen. It took him to headquarters first to connect his neural terminal. Naturally, novel characters have no memory of the base. The issue is, it spent way too much time upgrading its system. They were supposed to land 6 years ago, but the headquarters network lagged, dragging out the update. One day at head office equals 1 full year in this tiny world. It tried to salvage the timeline and land on his wedding day, but things failed. They ended up in this nightmare present, leaving both his body and mind completely broken. He is just a college student, and his guide is clearly just as green. This is incredibly unreliable, especially since the system literally graduated this year. Wait, I am your very first host? Seriously? Now I am doubting your skills. Have some faith. I am completely confident you will end up happy, despite this world losing 6 years. So, was I actually around for those 6 years? I am clearly here, and we are following the script. The system ran those 6 years on autopilot. But wait, if it can do everything automatically, why do you even need me? Naturally, the novel's plot says I should follow this exact path of development. The autopilot just blindly follows that program. So what's the difference between me and a robot? Besides, that behavior is completely opposite to my actual personality. That's a massive gap. It is really nothing like something I would ever do. Here's the difference: the autopilot feels zero pain, has no emotions, and no thoughts. But you've got me. Exactly. Since I actually think, how could I act so stupidly? That dummy definitely wasn't me. Other characters just follow their scripts to the letter. Their whole lives are completely controlled by the plot. They get to live however they want, only following the script for key events. That mindless puppet being manipulated by everyone? Not me. Just some toy on strings, living out a script written by some stranger, never doing what I actually want. The story version of me and the real me? Completely different people. I honestly can't understand that puppet's choices, let alone copy them. It's just making me look like an absolute fool over and over again. A couple of times might be fine, but being this brainless every single day, it makes total sense that you feel disconnected from that script. That scripted character isn't the real you. You're only truly yourself when you start living freely, right? No way. I'm never admitting those 6 years were actually mine. It's way too embarrassing. I'd never do something that brain did. By the way, what can you actually do? Well, my skill lets you rewind time 3 times. Perfect. Send me back 6 years right now. Back to 6 years ago. Ah, wait time. Rewinds are only short term. Let's just save this skill. What are the milestone rewards for this main quest anyway? And if this is the main one, that must mean there are side quests too, right? Wait, are the rewards blind boxes? Even I don't know what you'll pull from them. Side quests will trigger randomly depending on the people you meet. And don't worry, you get to choose whether to take them on. That actually sounds pretty interesting. Meanwhile, the Shea Corporation successfully locks down the massive project, securing a guaranteed jackpot. This meant the Shea Corporation had completely crushed their competition and risen to the top. Check this out. The night Yuan Tiantian hears the bad news, she locks herself inside her top-floor office. She's completely alone in the dark. On her computer screen, the brutal bidding results sit there, glaring back at her. Every single word pierces deep. Slowly, standing up, she walks over to the floor-to-ceiling window, looking out over the dazzling lights of High City. That massive business empire she expected to rule now feels like it's mocking her failure. Furious, she begins wildly smashing everything in sight. Exhausted from her frantic rage, she stands panting in the middle of the ruined office, her long hair completely messy and soaked with sweat. Suddenly, her phone lights up. It's an incoming call from her fiancé, Chi Yebai. But she refuses to answer it. Her eyes turn pitch black. 3 months back, desperately wanting to win this bid, Yuan Tiantian signed a risky deal with Chi Yebai to get his family's money. If she won, they'd get a 15% stake. If she failed, she had to repay everything with 20% interest in 3 years, using her 8% equity as collateral. Worse yet, she had given her powerful father, Yuan Fengtai, a strict guarantee of success. Even though Yuan Fengtai had stepped back, he was still the ultimate power behind the scenes. He only respects raw ability, not bloodlines. After all, he's got plenty of other children, including illegitimate ones. With Yuan Tiantian's massive failure, her entire position in the family is completely shattered. Can she turn things around? The next morning, Yuan Tiantian holds back her panic, desperately reaching out to several tech startups she had planned to partner with, pushing forward key backup plans. She's hoping some quick wins will restore her father's trust. But by noon, Chi Yibai's father, Qi Zhengping, calls her right on schedule. After delivering a series of harsh warnings and heavy pressure, he hangs up. Instantly, Yuan Tiantian's fake smile vanishes. Her expression turns terrifyingly cold as she violently slams her phone down right onto her brand new, polished office desk. That old fox actually dares to treat me like this. One by one, they all want to kick me while I'm down. Meanwhile, Xia Qin gets incredibly busy managing their newly secured government project. But no matter how busy she got, she always checked the hourly bodyguard updates about my situation at home. It had already been 3 hours since I had left my room. Xia Yakin always cared about me the most. Feeling uneasy, she knew something was off. 3 hours, and he had not stepped out once. When a quiet kid is this silent, they are usually up to trouble. She ordered her bodyguard to check on me, telling him to head to the villa and knock on my door. He asked if I was inside, and I replied that I was just playing games. The guard reported back that nothing was wrong. Hearing that I was completely fine, Yakin finally let her guard down. Over the next few days, she worked at the office while I stayed glued to my games. I tried asking to go outside, but Yakin shut down every single request. At night, we were literally chained. We kept our distance, lying on opposite sides of that massive bed like we were guarding a border. The only real pain was having to force-feed myself extra meals all day just to pack on some weight. Plus, eating right before knocking out meant late-night bathroom runs, which constantly woke Yakin up. Dragging her out of sleep at 2 a.m. just ruined her rest completely. Before long, rumors started buzzing around the office that I was actively torturing the beautiful CEO. Meanwhile, Yuan Tiantian was desperate for her dad's approval, scrambling to partner with tiny startups. As for me, publicly calling her out and blocking her at the big auction, it made her furious at first, but she figured I was still her loyal puppy just throwing a tantrum. In her head, I blocked Yakin out of love. Pure, unadulterated delusion on her part. She was absolutely convinced my heart still belonged to her. A total lover's quarrel. Too bad her team was utterly useless. Even with Yakin out of the way, she still lost the contract. When she heard I was hospitalized, she assumed it was for her sake. She started blowing up my phone with texts, but I completely ignored them. Thinking I was locked up somewhere without my phone, she kept texting my old number, planning to use those messages as blackmail material later on. 2 whole weeks. That is how long I have been stuck here. The excitement wore off pretty fast under house arrest. Every single morning, I woke up staring at the same fancy, freezing prison of a bedroom, just endlessly scrolling through feeds, watching strangers live their lives until my thumbs actually started to cramp up. I tossed my phone aside, ready to snap. System, hear me out, we have got to escape this place. But run where? Getting hurt by Yuan Tiantian and dragged back by Yakin? Honestly, my body is too weak to survive. The system agreed health is your absolute best weapon, no matter what kind of wild quest you are on. You need a strong foundation. And hey, if you can get your weight back up to normal, you will actually clear the very first milestone of your happiness quest. Hold on. Just getting healthy actually counts as a major win for us? Exactly. To secure a happy ending, a healthy mind and body are crucial. So, what is the actual goal here? For starters, your medical vitals need to stabilize, and you have got to stay completely disease-free. In your case, that just means packing on weight. But after 2 solid weeks of eating, I have only gained 3 lousy pounds. Host, your height is 188.8 centimeters, but you need to weigh at least 140 pounds. This is dangerously unhealthy. Sigh. Staring at my skinny body, I nod. Phone tossed. Time to start eating some actual food. Hurrying downstairs, I immediately look for Aunt Wang. I ask her to start preparing some heavy, highly nutritious dishes that can help me build muscle. Pack it with nutrients, I tell her. Aunt Wang smiles, promising she will fatten up her young master nicely. But get this, Aunt Wang took that request a bit too literally. When dinner time comes, I see this crazy feast and immediately start devouring it. My wife, Yakin, slowly scans the table. Charcoal-grilled oysters, medium-well steak, with fresh deep-sea noodles, a bright green chive omelet, and a tenor of tonic soup served with goji berry tea on the side. Honestly, this menu choice is way too obvious. Aunt Wang happily explains that the son-in-law requested blood-nourishing, bodybuilding meals. She even adds that her young master is incredibly thoughtful. Yakin simply winces. She stares as I literally bury my face in the plates, slurping an oyster straight from the shell in one hand while using a fork to shove massive chunks of beef into my mouth. Closing her eyes for a brief second, she quietly tells Aunt Wang to leave us alone for a bit. Now, the only sounds are clinking chopsticks and my loud, heavy chewing. Out of nowhere, she asks if the food is good. Absolutely delicious. I mumble with zero table manners. This soup is fresh. Aunt Wang is seriously the best. As she watches me eat, there is absolutely nothing in her cold gaze except a quiet, distant appreciation for the food itself. She suddenly felt her earlier assumptions were a bit presumptuous. Picking up her chopsticks, she naturally started eating with me. Hurry up and eat since there is so much. If you do not eat, I will finish it all. After saying that, I scooped another full bowl of soup, determined to carry out my weight gain plan to the end. Yachian watched me devour everything like a total whirlwind, making her eyelids twitch once again. She casually reminds me to eat a little less. She warns binge eating might ruin my stomach and land me in the hospital, but I say I won't. I felt pretty smug inside, calculating how many ounces of meat I could gain. System 21 was monitoring my intake in real time. I was still far from the warning limit. I know what I am doing. I think, picking up another piece of chive. Shiyachian watched me eat so happily and ended up eating a lot more herself. The night grew heavy, and she lay barely a meter away from me. Her body temperature felt warmer than usual, and her deep thoughts were faintly drifting. Ah Chen's recent behavior really made it seem like he had completely forgotten all those years in his past with no acting involved. Such unfamiliarity and cold indifference could not possibly be faked for this long or look so real. Xie Yaqian's thoughts unconsciously drifted back to before they were 20, returning to those sweet, youthful days. Those long, dormant, withered emotions were quietly reviving as she faced the amnesiac him, making her restless heart burn hot and vibrant once again. But how could I possibly guess the massive turmoil in her heart? At first, I was pretty resistant to sharing a bedroom and sleeping near her, but after getting along for half a month, I gradually became completely certain that Shi Yaqian simply did not want me contacting Yuan Tiantian and was solely focused on keeping me safe. Other than that, she did not seem to have any other intentions about anything else. After a week of these heavy, nourishing meals, because I ate quite a lot each day, my weight noticeably increased. My previously somewhat thin arms and legs were now covered in a healthy layer of flesh. One morning, I stepped on the scale, watching the needle stop at 110 pounds. I could not help but smile at my progress, but wait until you see the heat building up inside Jie Yaqian. She had been progressing right alongside me, yet felt as if a smoldering fire was slowly lit inside her body. At first, she was just tossing and turning at night since her body was strong, but soon it became a faint torment. She would often wake up suddenly in the dead of night, only able to quietly gaze at me beside her in the dim light. Fast asleep, I was completely oblivious to all of this. Seeing my look of total trust, her restless inner heat turned into sheer helplessness. She could not bear to wake me from my deep sleep, nor did she want to take a cold shower, and she certainly could not bring herself to explain any of this to me. On another night, that familiar heat struck even deeper, and fine sweat beaded on Xie Yaqian's forehead. She gently threw off the covers and used her key to unlock the chain on her wrist. I groggily rolled toward the middle, barely brushing against her arm. She practically fled straight into the bathroom, desperate to wash away those incredibly strange thoughts of hers. When I woke up the next morning, I had zero idea what had happened. As usual, I got up, headed downstairs, and ate. Xie Yaqian looked at my increasingly healthy complexion, feeling quite happy inside. Xie Yaqian, I am too bored at home and want to go out. Plus, I think I need a job instead of living like a lazy pig here. It is not right. Hearing me describe myself that way, Xie Yaqian could not help but smile. Ah Chen was still the same, and honestly, you have to love how he even ruthlessly insults himself here. Yeah, I know you do not want me going out, but I am about to grow mold. I am no longer that couch potato Chen who would die for a woman. I am the 20-year-old Ah Chen now. I want to be motivated, hardworking, positive, and sunny. I want to have a job, any job at all. If I do not know how, I can slowly learn. I do not want to be kept at home by you forever. I feel like a pet cat or dog, not a human being. The system praises me, saying I am amazing and that the old me was bound by the plot. Just look at all the comments praising you right now for wanting to finally be the master of your own life. I do not have to be some outstanding genius, but I must have the right to make my own decisions and do what I want. Right now, I just want to get a job, integrate into society, be independent, and be my own person again. Xie Yaqian looks at me with soft eyes. She giggles, saying I can be her assistant and follow her daily, but I ask if there are other options. Xie Yaqian gets upset and puffs her cheeks, asking what is with my look, my expression, and my ungrateful attitude. I quickly agree, even though thinking about being together 24 hours a day makes me a bit uncomfortable. Are you happy now? She admits she is just afraid I am lying, warning that if I sneak off to find Yuan Tiantian and end up half dead again, she will have to rescue me. I kept thinking back to what 21 said about our last lifetime, how she died right along with me after killing Yuan Tiantian. Honestly, I never expected Ji Yaqian to actually love me. After all, we were totally average back then. Now, we practically start a fight over a simple breakfast. For the first 20 years of our lives, this was just our normal routine. We would start bickering after 2 sentences, then immediately make up. I really could not understand why she made that ultimate choice. Is Ji Yaqian just as twisted as Yuan Tiantian? Does she seriously need me to die before she realizes her true feelings and starts feeling regret? But then, it all suddenly clicked for me. Fine. If I have to work as your assistant, I will do it. As our luxury sedan pulled up to the Shi Corporation headquarters, employees outside slowed down to watch. Then, the door swung open. First out was their notoriously cold CEO. But a second later, every single eye locked onto me as I stepped out right beside her. Shi Yaxian ignored the shocked whispers and dragged me hand in hand straight toward her private executive elevator. Instant gossip erupted everywhere. Several employees whipped out their phones, frantically typing away in the company group chat to ask what was happening. They text assistant Zhu that boss Shi Yaqian just arrived with an incredibly handsome guy, Xiao Chen. They remembered Xiao Chen as a pathetic loser who only cared about Yuan Tiantian. Yet here she was, bringing him straight into the company. The elevator doors chimed open on the top floor. Shi Yaqian stepped out, and I followed right behind her. The top floor staff froze in pure shock. Shi Yaqian barked out for assistant Zhu to follow us as he scrambled to regain his composure. Yes, boss Shi, he stammered, rushing after us. Good morning, boss. Good morning, son-in-law. What do you need me to do? Before Shi Yaqian could say a single word, I chimed in with a massive grin, asking him to set up a desk for me. I am officially starting today. Assistant Zhu wondered if he was hallucinating. How else could the famous troublemaker of a son-in-law actually claim he is here to do real work? This felt like a disaster. He quickly glanced at Shi Yaqian for confirmation, and she gave him a very subtle nod. Put a desk in my office and give him basic tasks, she ordered. But I quickly interrupted, demanding to sit outside with everyone. Just do as I say and get it done, she snapped. My little protest was instantly crushed, which was no surprise. Shi Yaqian was acting like a total dictator. She warned me that if I tried using work to sneak out, I would be locked inside the house forever. The second I step outside, you can literally feel the weight of dozens of eyes staring at me. The tension in the air became incredibly awkward, but looking at them, I honestly felt like I had finally found my crowd. A massive smile spread across my face as I stepped forward, greeting them with the most cheerful voice I could muster. Hey there, everyone. We are going to be colleagues now. I am totally new to this, so I do not know a thing. I hope we can all get along. They nervously laughed back, telling me I was being way too polite. I completely ignored their suspicious stares and naturally joined the conversation. After a bit of casual small talk, the stiff atmosphere finally began to soften. One of the employees could not help but ask what my exact relationship with their beautiful boss, Shi Yaqian, really was. I just blinked and casually told them that we were childhood friends and former classmates. That makes sense. Just as they finally figured it out, Assistant Zhu walked in with the logistics team, carrying a brand new desk, chair, and computer. Seeing me in the middle of the crowd, Assistant Zhu stopped, keeping his tone highly respectful. Why are you not working inside boss Shi Yaqian's office, son-in-law? He asked. Talk about an absolute bombshell dropping right in front of everyone. The entire room went dead silent. This was the legendary bad son-in-law who supposedly hated boss Shi Yaqian. Of course, the only guy standing next to Shi Yaqian had to be her husband, but no one could understand why she brought him here. But what none of them realized was that behind the office's one-way glass, Shi Yaqian was standing there, silently watching everything play out. Her intense gaze pierced straight through the window, completely locked onto me. Her eyes swirled with a storm of complex emotions, heavy suspicion mixed with a desperate, deeply hidden possessiveness. Xiao Chen had been strangely obedient lately, even showing the bright energy of his 20-year-old self. It was nearly flawless. She knew this might just be a brilliant act by Xiao Chen. She had to find a slip-up and rip away Xiao Chen's mask, yet a part of her desperately wished this lie was actually real. She secretly wished time would just freeze, hoping Ah Chen would stay this sweet forever. The guy who would smile, playfully argue, and laugh foolishly whenever she teased him. Meanwhile, Assistant Shu worked incredibly fast to set up my workspace. A brand new computer and a complete pack of sleek office supplies were totally ready. Armed with my own little territory, I sat perfectly straight in front of that screen all morning. Sometimes frowning, typing away, looking insanely serious. Hey, 21, what does this report even mean? What do these crazy numbers mean? How do I fix the layout? Why does it look so ugly when I do it? College definitely never taught this. I have zero experience. Plus, this slideshow template is unbelievably tacky, and the colors are hideous. Relying on the classic rule of survival, I secretly used my phone to look up the stuff I absolutely could not understand. Otherwise, I would just call System 21 for emergency help. After struggling all day, I actually finished a few basic tasks. Shi Yaqian printed out my work and tapped a few spots with her pen. The logic here makes no sense. Your data? Totally wrong. Your formatting is way below company standards. But as I leaned in closer, her voice explaining it was surprisingly gentle and patient. I watched her edit, watched her demonstrate. And slowly, I got totally lost. Adjusting things, learning her brilliant way of solving problems as the sky outside slowly turned into deep shades of dusk. 5 p.m. The office alarm finally rang right on schedule, and my focused eyes instantly lit up. Moving with absolute lightning speed, I saved the file and shut down my computer. I stood up cheering, totally ready to bolt. Xiao Chen, don't you want your notes? No way. Tomorrow, I yelled back. I vanished like a puff of smoke, leaving behind a room full of overworked coworkers staring at me with pure envy. Escape on the dot? Yes, please. But trust me, his sweet freedom was cut brutally short. The guard apologized. Boss Xie ordered that you can't leave alone. I complained. Xie Yaqian, let me go home. She replied coldly, finish the edits first. Since it is overtime, expect triple pay. Besides, leaving before your boss, you would be instantly fired in any normal company. Gripping my phone, I turned around, sighed at the elevator, and dragged myself back inside. Once again, the top floor lights turned on just for me. Over time, I absolutely despise it. Following Xie Yaqian into the elevator, the ride was much quieter this time. By the time Xie Yaqian drove me back to the family estate, it was already late at night. Aunt Wang had dinner waiting, setting down a steaming hot spread of 6 delicious dishes and a warm bowl of soup. Enjoying the rare, cozy warmth, the two of us finished eating, and I immediately hid in my bedroom to play video games. Meanwhile, Ji Yaqian went to her study to work, but her phone soon buzzed with a text. A text arrived. Come out for drinks. Did you bring your husband? She replied, not going. She messaged back, nothing is going on. But her friend joked, cut the act, you two actually survived a full day without fighting. A total miracle. Xie Yaqian typed back it was fine, he actually lost his memory. Highly annoyed, Xie Yaqian sent a quick reply and ignored her. An hour later, the doorbell rang, and Aunt Wang opened the door. Gunianian stood there with a huge grin, slipping her shoes off while shouting, Eldest Miss Xi, your guest has arrived. Gunianian texted Ji Yaqian from downstairs, where is the husband? Incredibly persistent. Xi Yaqian instinctively glanced toward the shut master bedroom door. Did you really come all this way just for gossip? Well, obviously. It is a literal miracle you two didn't kill each other. I had to see this myself. Gunianian sat up with sparkling eyes. Xie Yaqian sighed in a completely flat voice, we are not zoo monkeys. Was this really worth coming over? Honestly, wasn't Ah Chen always half dead over Yuan Tiantian? Why the sudden, massive change of heart? And seriously, who could blame her for worrying? Back when I caused that massive uproar over Yuan Tiantian, Gunianian had spent countless nights drinking with her heartbroken best friend, major lingering fears. But a soft look flashed in Xie Yaqian's eyes as she murmured he lost his memory. Last time he faked a headache and amnesia to win you back. He just upgraded his wicked tactics this time. Xie Yaqian insisted it is real. He forgot her. Her friend scoffed, what if his acting just improved? Xie Yaqian, do not fall for his tricks again. Before she could finish, a door opened on the second floor. Both of them instantly looked up. I slowly walked out, wearing my cozy loungewear. Standing by the railing, I looked down with a mix of curiosity and confusion. Instantly, Gunianian jumped to her feet, flashing her usual bright, welcoming smile. She greeted me as her brother-in-law, asking if their noise woke me up while I walked down the stairs. Nodding hello, I quietly wondered who she was. This was Gunianian, Xie Yaqian's closest ally from her early days in business. Their bond was incredibly strong, making her the only person who could actually speak some harsh truths to Xie Yaqian. Feeling her sharp, searching gaze, I told her I was just heading down to grab a drink. Telling them to carry on, I grabbed a couple of cold water bottles straight from the kitchen fridge. Wait, did he seriously just smile and greet her first? Before this memory loss, he only ever gave her the absolute coldest shoulder imaginable. It seemed his amnesia was completely real. Ah Chen's mind stopped at 20, wiping out every single person and event from his past. She declared this a cause for celebration and suggested they head out for some drinks, promising the first round was on her. Xie Yaqian froze, remembering he loved drinking too, while her friend teased her about reporting her whereabouts already. Teasing her about falling for him again, Xie Yaqian ignored it and gently knocked on my master bedroom door. Hearing my muffled reply from within, she pushed the door open to find me sitting cross-legged on the sofa. My fingers were flying across the phone screen in an intense mobile battle, the soft glow highlighting my deeply focused face. Lost in my own gaming world, I barely noticed Xie Yaqian saying she was going out for drinks with her friend. Saying she might be back late, I casually told her to go ahead, she was not on a leash. Without even looking up, my eyes stayed glued to the screen, but those cold words made Xie Yaqian stiffen up completely. The harsh remark pierced her heart like a sharp needle, leaving her wanting to say something but unable to find the words. Everything dissolved into a bitter, heavy silence, and she ended up saying absolutely nothing. Casting a long, lingering look at me, she quietly shut the door before heading into a dimly lit, crowded bar. Amidst the pounding bass, Xie Yaqian sat in total silence, knocking back 2 straight glasses of hard liquor. Her friend urged her to slow down, demanding to know what kind of shock could possibly trigger this. Throwing back her third shot without hesitation, Shi Yaqian silently wondered if she had made a massive mistake by constantly spoiling him. Her friend reminded her that whenever she gave him space, he ran straight to Yuan Tiantian to cause chaos. You are always the one cleaning up his disasters, and now with his amnesia, you have to be 10 times more cautious. But he hates being trapped by me, and honestly, he does not even like me. Staring into her glass, Xie Yaqian acknowledged the painful truth, but noted that at least he was acting quiet now. Gunianian urged her to take things slow since hearts cannot be rushed, but Xie Yaqian ignored the advice and poured another shot. Gunianian shook her head in defeat, realizing she was officially the designated driver for the night. Naturally, the stunning looks of both women were already drawing plenty of attention around the room. Soon, a tall, muscular guy with a glass strolled over, sliding into the empty seat next to Shi Yaqian and asking why such beauties were drinking alone. Offering to join them, her friend instantly shut him down, but he argued that married people could still make friends. He kept pushing to chat, but when Shi Yaqian flatly repeated that she was married, his arrogant smile instantly froze. Glancing down at her completely bare fingers, his voice took on a highly provocative tone. He asked if they had fought, suggesting she needed to unwind because her husband was probably out having his own fun. Pointing out her missing ring, he asked why she was being so serious instead of just enjoying her short life. After all, is it not better to just live in the moment? Meanwhile, you are not going to believe this. I was busy gaming on voice chat, leaving our opponents completely speechless and loving life. Mid-game, I randomly sneezed, rubbing my nose with a groan. While back at the bar, the temperature around Xie Yaqian plunged to absolute zero. Terrified by the deadly, freezing glare in her eyes, the guy immediately panicked and bolted away. Gunianian let out a sigh of relief, only to turn and find Xie Yaqian staring intently down at her empty right hand. Her ring finger was bare, a painful reminder that this marriage with Ah Chen was fake from day one. Ah Chen never loved her before his memory loss, and he still did not now, a brutal realization that burned worse than the alcohol. Silently downing shot after shot, Xie Yaqian refused to stop, leaving a deeply worried Gunianian unsure of how to comfort her. Seeing her friend get completely wasted, she finally called her staff to safely escort the drunk CEO back home as the midnight darkness fully settled in. The driver helps Xie Yaqian out of the car. The cool night breeze clears her head for a second, but she still can barely walk straight. Pushing away Gunianian's supportive hand, she stumbles forward and staggers into the empty house all on her own. She slowly drags herself up the stairs, step by painful step. Seeing she is fine, Gunianian heads back home with a sigh of relief. Right outside the bedroom, Xie Yaqian pauses and leans her shaking back against the freezing wall. Clumsily smoothing down her wrinkled skirt, she takes a long, deep breath and finally reaches for the cold brass handle. Just then, my loud, cheerful laughter echoes from the other side. The sound slips right through the cracked door, loud and clear. Her hand instantly freezes solid on the knob. Her blood runs cold. A split second later, rage surges straight to her brain with an absolute vengeance. The nasty rumors that guy at the bar whispered start echoing in her ears. Those cruel words feel like a cursed prophecy playing out right now, slapping her in the face in the most ironic way. And just like that, it hits her he is lying, and never lost his memory. Hiding behind that sweet face, acting like his younger self just to spin a massive web of deceit. Behind her back, he was still talking to Yuan Tiantian, calling her sweet baby a pet name so intimate it makes her sick. For years, she dreamed of him calling her a sweet name like that, crying out for him in her sleep over and over again. Yet he never did, not even once. But he happily whispers it to another woman 1,000 times over. Jealousy boils over, mixing with the alcohol in her system. Her fading buzz instantly transforms into blinding rage. The sheer humiliation of being played burns like hot lava, completely swallowing the last remaining bits of her sanity. She slams the bedroom door wide open. Soft, cozy light floods the dark hallway, creating a massive contrast with her pitch-black mood. I am sitting in bed wearing headphones, fast fingers flying across my phone. The sudden slam startles the life out of me, and I look up in shock. A happy, relaxed smile from joking with my gaming buddy is still plastered right across my face. Xie Yaqian stands there, cheeks burning a wild, feverish red. Her bloodshot eyes are filled with a desperate heartbreak I have never witnessed. Her cold, elegant composure is totally shattered. Staring dead into my eyes like a cornered animal, her lips tremble. After a heavy silence, she finally chokes out a tearful accusation. Sao Chen, you lied to me. You never lost your memory at all. Hearing this, I sit straight up, totally lost. I ask her what I supposedly lied about, totally baffled. But she just steps closer, high heels clicking sharply against the floor. Each step looks like she's walking on knives as she demands to know who this Hao Bao is. It is Yuan Tian Tian, isn't it? She yells. You have been pretending this whole entire time. You faked the memory loss, faked being sweet, all while keeping her on the hook. Hearing this, the pieces finally click for me. Now look at this. I just hold up my phone, completely caught between laughing and crying. I tell her it is just my gaming buddy. I got a crazy team wipe and called him baby to celebrate. Her feet freeze instantly. She instantly sobers up as the fury in her eyes freezes into pure, bewildered confusion. Looking from the lobby on my screen to my totally blank face, the flush on her cheeks vanishes, leaving her pale. Softening my voice, I tell her I know exactly what she is so terrified of. She thinks I will remember Yuan Tiantian, but the guy who chased after her is not me anymore. The only thing I recall is that you and I grew up bickering as childhood rivals. Turning away, her shoulders shake slightly. She refuses to meet my eyes, but she does not deny it either. I remember when I hurt my ankle after winning that race back in school, and you carried me to the clinic. You yelled at me the entire time, but held me so gently because you were terrified of hurting me. You always had a golden heart. When I was completely broke, you would always lecture me endlessly. But then you would turn right around and force the cash into my palms, claiming you would never like me even if I was the last man alive. I know you only said that out of anger. I reach out and softly wipe the tears from her cheeks. This past month, I have seen the truth clearly. You say you are keeping me on a golden leash out of fear, but you still give me the absolute best life. You skipped a massive business meeting just for me. Even when you suspect I am lying, you always run to my side. Xie Yaqian, you are definitely not the villain here. You're the silliest, most protective person in the world when it comes to me. She finally speaks up, her tears dropping onto the back of my hand, scalding hot. She asks if I am really never going to look for Yuan Tianqian again. Why on earth would I? That woman strung me along, used me, and stepped all over my family just to climb the social ladder. She never gave me a single shred of sincerity. I would have to be brain dead to ever go back to her. That fool from before was not me. Now, I am myself, and I am staying far away from trash. My system calls me amazing. The misunderstanding is finally cleared. I ignore the system, gently taking Xie Yakin's hand to sit on the edge of the bed. I apologize for everything in the past on his behalf. The old me made you suffer for 6 long years. He kept you awake night after night. He made you feel like locking me up was the only way to keep me, even though you loved me. I am the one who wronged you. But starting right now, I promise, Xiao Chen will never let Xie Yakin shed another tear. She immediately throws herself into my arms, hugging me tightly and burying her face in my neck. All the pain she bottled up for 6 years finally explodes. She cries just like a little child. I gently pat her back, heart aching, knowing this imprisonment was never actually about control. It was salvation. Seriously, if she had not guarded me, the plot would have driven me to my grave long ago. Please, no more chains ever. I will not run. If you are worried, I will take you everywhere. I will follow you to work and keep you company. I will never leave you. Is that true? Truer than gold. Plus, I am going to work hard and help you run the She group. I used to hold you back, but now I will be your shield. That night, for the first time, we did not sleep 1 meter apart. I held her close as she slept peacefully. No tossing and turning. No waking up at night. The next morning, Xie Yaqian wakes up feeling pretty embarrassed, her ears turning completely red. I tease her, asking President Xi who was crying their eyes out yesterday. She glares at me, but without any of her usual coldness. She pouts, telling me not to bring it up. Once we get up, I immediately have the bodyguards remove every single gold chain from the house. From now on, I will tie you down with my heart instead. It is stronger than any metal. Over the next few weeks, I completely dive into the work at the She group. I go from struggling with basic financial reports to shadowed learning under Xie Yakin, mastering business and actually running company affairs. My progress is rapid, and Xie Yaqian is incredibly patient. I work incredibly hard, only wanting to share her burden so she does not have to carry everything alone. And what about Yuan Tiantian? Well, she finally pays for her greed when her government bid completely fails. She fails to secure the Qi family's investment, leaving her buried under a mountain of massive debt. Even her shares get mortgaged. Seeing her hit absolute rock bottom, her parents and relatives strip away all her company rights, replacing her with other children from the family. Abandoned by everyone, her glory days are gone. She slinks out of High City in total disgrace, never to cause trouble again. Hearing that news, I just smile faintly. Karma always comes back around. She walked right into this disaster herself, and she has nobody else to blame. When Gunyenian visits next, she finds Xie Yakin and me sitting side by side. I am peeling an orange for her while she leans on my shoulder reading documents. It is pure, peaceful domestic bliss. She is so shocked she nearly spits out her tea, yelling that Xiao Chen has completely changed. Nian Nian teases that before, I only cared about Yuan Tiantian, but now my eyes are only for Zhe Yakin. Apparently, I finally saw the light. Shi Yakin gently nudges her with a soft smile. I admit I was totally blind before, but now I know who is truly worth cherishing. Suddenly, my system chimes in. My health is normal. Phase 2 is live, protect Shi Yakin for a reward. It announces that I have drawn the unique one heart buff. From now on, our minds are fully connected. Misunderstandings are gone forever. As days pass, my weight returns to normal. I am no longer that thin skeleton of a man. I am full of energy and ready for anything. My relationship with Zhi Yakin only grows deeper. From childhood frenemies, we have become completely inseparable lovers. Working side by side, we drove the Shi group to new heights. We dominated High City. Everywhere. All those shareholders who used to doubt Xie Yaqian. Now they can't stop praising me. One weekend, I decided to take Xie Yaqian back to our old college campus. Strolling those familiar paths, watching the students walk by. It felt like we were 20 all over again. Right here, the moment we've all been waiting for, I stop, drop to one knee before Xie Yaqian, and pull out a ring. I bought this with my very first paycheck. Xie Yaqian, remember when we were 20? You helped me walk this very path. Now, at 26, I want to hold your hand and walk with you for the rest of my life. Our first marriage was just an accident, desperation and spite. But this time, I want to marry you because I love you. Will you marry me? Shi Yaqian's eyes overflow with tears as she nods. Choking out her answer, I will. I slide the ring onto her finger, stand up, and pull her close in a tight embrace. No more childhood rivals from here on. Just me and my wife, together forever. Then, a voice rings in my head. Host, the final mission is complete. The ultimate reward, growing old together, has now been activated. Wishing you both a lifetime of happiness. Growing old together. Holding her tight in my arms, my heart is filled with pure contentment. I used to think I was just a puppet trapped in some novel, my tragic fate already written in stone. But now I see the truth. If you stay true to yourself and cherish real love, you can break free from any cage and live your own life. Shi Yaqian spent 6 long years of obsession and protection, waiting for the real me to finally return. I'll use the rest of my life's tenderness to make up for all her pain and waiting. Being able to marry you in this lifetime is truly my absolute greatest fortune.